All right. Hey, we are live. I'm Alicia Rain. I'm the host of tonight's episode of the workshop. This is episode 152. We've got three fantastic comedians working out some new material. Basically, the way the workshop works is everyone got a subject ahead of time, and then they kind of write material based on the subject that they had gotten. The first round, we go over that material and then we kind of give some feedback, maybe some tags, and then we go through everybody. And then the second round is our own material that we're kind of workshopping. And again, we'll go through everybody, we'll give some tags, give some feedback. And then we're also going to kind of be checking in with Facebook users, see if anyone live watching has any fun feedback for us. So I'm going to go ahead and say mine. I'm Alicia Rain, the host, and then my subject was transfer. And so for me, that kind of meant like a transfer of deed. So what if you are like selling the house and you know it's haunted and you're trying to like get the person to like take the keys and you're like, just take the goddamn keys, like trying so hard to like almost toss it at them. You know, it's just like, don't pay attention to the bleeding walls. It's fine. And then just kind of like shoving the keys in their hand. Or like, what if you had to try to get rid of Christine, the car? You know, you like posted it on Facebook and it's just like cherry red monster mobile killer on the road, you know, and you're trying to, you know, get somebody to come over and look at it. And they're like, why is it so cheap? It doesn't matter. Just take this from me. Well, you know, $20, it's free. You know what? It's free. Yeah, so that's kind of, you know, what I think about when you think about transfer is just stuff that you're trying to get rid of. Just take it away from me. Yep, I'm really tired of the fact that I cannot even call into customer service anymore. Like, no matter what you're doing, you got a problem with your phone. They're like, what's the problem? And then I'm like, I want to speak to a person. There's no phone number to call anymore. I would rather wait on hold while they transfer me to somebody than have to like scroll through the frequently asked questions. Is it this? Is it that? It's none of those things. Airbnb, my most recent experience. It's none of those things. I just need a phone number. So it's not even an option anymore. Like, would you rather be on hold for 25 minutes waiting for a person or try to look for a frequently asked question? I'd rather be on hold any day of the week than try to find the frequently asked question that is my problem. So, yeah. A lot of times you can hear me go, operator, customer service, like trying to just get through the prompts. Yeah, I don't know. Student loans, like even student loans, they have the phone, but you can't even, there's so many numbers that you can't even get through it. So, yeah. So that's kind of what I got for transfer. Those are kind of my two main ones that stuck out to me. So, Eric, do you have any response, or if anyone can jump in?
I thought that the source material is very solid. I would work on exaggerating it a little bit. I think that all of us have been on hold and are constantly like, customer service, screaming it at some point because they'll be like, they'll give you like 3 or 4 prompts and none of them are what you want, which is exactly what you just said, right? You're like, I want to talk to a human being, and that's never an option. It's like you have to go through every other prompt to get to it. So I would just like maybe channel some of that rage that we all have and that you have when you're like, I don't want to spend 20 minutes on the phone to get a phone number. But we all now have to get stuck with this because everything is automated and it's terrible.
So amp up the rage when I finally get to a phone number.
Literally act like you're doing it. Like act like you're calling Sears to return a washer and dryer. And because if you tried to do that, you probably wouldn't even be able to. Probably because Sears doesn't exist anymore, but that's a different issue.
Right. Yeah. Also, like, it's so jarring if you're doing it in like public, you know, and like other people can hear you and you don't talk normal like you would to a person. You'd be like, so like in the interaction that other people would have to hearing you be that loud and be that amped up. So that's some good stuff. All right. Anything else? Okay. Elizabeth, no response.
I like the concepts of the jokes. I think you just need to punch it up a little more. And I do agree, like, you can add the rage for sure. I agree with that point.
Yeah, it's very I appreciate that feedback. And part of it is kind of rough. You're like, sometimes you struggle with the subject a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd probably honestly vote for someone if they just said, I'll get rid of automated prompts on your phone.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'm next. All right, cool. For feedback, right?
Yeah, Chris, you got any feedback?
Yeah, definitely amplify the rage on the automated. Definitely amplify the rage. I agree with that. Like, there's so much more rage you can put into that. And I know as someone who's been on hold with the PUA for probably about 8 months, I can channel the anger, like, you know, like when it comes to that. So it's like, I know you can do, but no, I like the concept about, you know, like you transfer, how you went the direction of, you know, transferring stuff just to get out of like a bad deal, like a house is haunted or Christine, you know, the car is haunted and stuff. I like that angle. I think that it definitely needs a few more punches and stuff that you can go more into it and stuff about like maybe some excuses for the car. Like I know the bleeding walls, you know, Amityville horror style stuff for like the house, but like I think for the car, like there's a lot more stuff you could do with like, you know, the haunted, like saying like, you know, if the car like maybe imply like the car with like something else, like why the car is targeting, you know, some random person on the road. Just be like, you know, just like, you know, you can tie something in about that person or something to that, you know, maybe go in that direction.
That's good. Like the last person that died, they were a racist or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Or the
car. You don't have to worry about that.
I had an idea for a callback. What if you did the on hold part first and then talked about selling the places or trying to get rid of them, and then when someone actually buys one, they have to actually call an automated phone number to try to return it.
That's good. That's good. I like that. All right. All right, guys. I think that's some great feedback for my kind of rough concepts. So, Eric, I'm going to go over to you. And so it's Eric Vernston.
Nailed it.
Okay. And he's got a podcast, Live and Learn with Vern podcast. And that can be basic podcast, wherever you can find a podcast, basically, right?
If you search for Laugh and Learn with Vern on YouTube or any podcast platform, I will come up.
Okay. Okay.
There you
Sounds good. All right, Eric, take it away.
I made a big lifestyle change recently. I joined the Army.
Woo!
Wow.
Ooh, some people have a midlife crisis and buy a car. I decided to get my butt kicked for the next 20 years. Why? Because I thought it would be challenging, fun, and of course, women love a man in uniform. Before joining, I asked for people's advice. What do they think? Will I be okay? Will I make it? Because whenever you need to make a major life decision, you should always value others' opinions over your own. I asked my mom first. My mom's like, will they be giving you a weapon to shoot? She didn't say, will anyone be shooting at you? She said, will they be giving you a weapon to shoot? I said, Mom, yeah, but I'm not going to be like shooting at anyone. I'll learn how to use it and I'll be on the range. She goes, oh, okay, good. And then asked my therapist, a man very quick with answers. I said, what do you think? He goes, yeah. Finally, I asked my then girlfriend's father. He's a old school kind of guy, big mustache, cigarette in his mouth, gun on his hip. I said, Chip, think about joining the Army. What do you think? He looked at me. Son, the Army, it's not for everyone. Well, at this point, I'm kind of pissed because everyone essentially tells me I'm just a giant pussy. So I'm like, you know what, Chip? I go, it's the Illinois Army National Guard. It's 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. He goes, oh, okay. You'll be fine. Apparently, everyone knew I was a big pussy, except myself. And for that reason, I decided to prove that I was tough. And so I did apply to the Army. And 18 months later, I got into Georgia for training. Early March 2020. First morning, we wake up at 4 a.m. to get our uniforms. You know that feeling of, what did I get myself into? That was me at 4:30 in the morning, waiting outside for the uniform store to open at 5:30. Why were we there an hour early? Because Army. Because Army is the catch-all for anything the Army does that makes no sense. Standing around for an hour for no apparent reason? Because Army. Not getting your paycheck for a few months due to a technicality that takes 10 people to fix? Because Army. Chow hall open, but there's no peanut butter or coffee, and all you look forward to every morning is peanut butter on a banana with watered down, barely coffee flavored coffee? Because the chow hall stopped getting food because of COVID, but also because Army. We're at the store. We finally get inside, throw everything into a shopping cart. I have the choice between 2 different winter hats. Why do I need a winter hat during spring in Georgia, you ask? Because Army. Anyhow, one's more comfortable than the other, so I go with that one. Of course, I asked someone's opinion first, and they agreed. I walk outside to show my commander. Vernston, why the fuck did you buy a bank robber cap? That's not on the list. I told him I thought the caps were pretty much the same, so I got the one that was more comfortable. How do you know that I was new to the Army? Because I tried to reason with my commander that my choice was the correct one. He looks at me. Vernston, you buy the cap that we say to buy. You eat when we tell you to eat. You shit. Well, you shit when you have to. Want to know why? I looked at him. Because the cap is on the list. We have times to eat each day, and don't shit your pants. And that was how I learned the true meaning of Because Army. Madam Host.
So was that the subject then? Because Army?
Subject was lifestyle.
Okay.
But my whole life now is Because Army.
All right. Well, I like your people telling you, at the beginning, asking people's opinions and stuff like that. Yeah, I just have such a different style of comedy. That storytelling, you got like a storytelling kind of vibe going on there. So, I think like some more punchlines in between like each scenario, like a couple of punchy segues, like in between one thing and the next. And it sounds like you had an interesting interaction with that sergeant. Maybe give him like some sort of characteristic.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that would make the story flow and kind of give it a little bit more life. Just some fun segues in between each. Elizabeth, what did you think? Any feedback?
My feedback's going to sound similar. I think you're a really good storyteller. I was compelled from just the whole way through. But I think you need to punch it up more.
Would you recommend in terms of punching up if I went on more, like, for example, if I like certain situations, like add more like just like tags or maybe like explain things a little bit better?
I would say look at it and just look for opportunities for jokes.
Yeah.
Well, with storytelling, I would say, getting our attention at the beginning, like this, this is going to be an intense tale, or, some attention getting words to kind of really get us focused and honed in on the subject. And I think, when you get us like really interested. So at first I was like, oh, what's happening? And then I was like, oh, okay. But if you like kind of make it clear, like this is going to be, like, hey guys, this story is crazy, or, something like kind of pump up your own story before you get into it. That's just kind of like what I've seen in storytelling, just like my own research. So, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, compelling stuff. Chris, do you have any feedback?
Do I have any feedback specifically? I agree. A lot of the direction that you were taking with the stories, like it felt like it just kind of needed punches. Like it was a lot of setup, but didn't really have like specific kind of like like really banger punchlines to kind of like go alongside with their like kind of like more detail about different areas. Like when you're talking about like maybe the sergeant, you could talk about a few more characteristics about him, or kind of like the way he walked, and maybe like mention about like kind of the way he walked with like a different idea or so, or like for example how like the sergeant if you watch kind of like an air flight attendant, in the same way, how they walk like very militaristically, but like this dude maybe like on the side was like just like partying and stuff, or like basically it's like, or like
Yeah.
you ever go in that direction or something like that.
Like
Yeah,
it was
that-
kind of weird because he came off as like really goofy at first, and then I was like, oh, who cares? Like I just I bought the wrong hat, and then he was just like what is your problem?
Okay, like kind of did a like snapped
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just like, are you kidding me? Like you're in the army. Like just because I said hi to you 10 minutes ago doesn't mean I'm your friend. Like get on the fucking bus, you idiot. Like
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, like that. That's good stuff. And some act outs. I mean, it's hard on these little cameras to see what's going on. So maybe it's even just a couple of act outs would punch up some of the stuff that you're talking about. Like, Chip, with his hand on your shoulder, stuff like that. We'd be able to see better act out ways. So yeah, but overall I would say, pretty well-rounded and lots to work with, and sounds like you got a kind of an intense thing going on right now. So from the comments, I had one gentleman, Ambrish Kamboj Nanda, he said, can't find your podcast. Eric, so just let you know, Facebook user,
Facebook did?
yeah, he said he couldn't find your podcast. So just at the end, when we kind of at the very end, we'll have all of our links and stuff posted on the workshop to go along with that. So they'll do that for us. So, yep. Just look for it in the comments on the Facebook page here, either this evening or tomorrow. Nanda, Facebook user. So, yeah. All right. Chris, we're going to move on to you. What was your subject? And then
My subject was snuggling or snuggle.
All right. That sounds like a lot of stuff could be happening there. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, snuggling, first of all, as you can probably tell, not only do I not get with that many women, but also, I just don't like to snuggle in general and stuff. I mean, I like to snuggle, but tactically, like a tactical, kind of like as if you were, cuddling a cat, basically. The cat, the cat's just, there chilling and stuff. It'll just snuggle because it knows it's getting, tuna or something afterwards, But it's not it's basically, I'm like, okay, we did the deed. You can lay your arm, just lay along the side, but I'm cool with it. Okay, not too heavy, not too heavy. I'm not in gym class. I don't want to weight on my chest, when I'm trying to sleep and stuff. I don't want to feel like I'm doing like a bench press with my chest, when they have the arm over me. I'm just I'm just generally I'm just I see snuggle as more of just kind of like an obligation as opposed to more of an enjoyment. I'm in the sexual area, you're just okay, let's be tactical. Maybe we can do some better stuff next time or so. So I just kind of I kind of go along with it. I kind of look at snuggles the way I look at shared rides in Ubers and stuff. Basically, it's I just basically it's like the evening's done. We're I'm drunk. There's some other person that I'm probably never gonna see again who's right next door. Don't fall asleep on me. Do not fall asleep on me when I'm in the backseat of this car, and stuff. It's like granted, but at the same time you may be a stranger. I don't know what you're gonna do next, so I'm just gonna chill and just just sit down, and be like, okay, nudge, just have gradually move, just be tactical, be okay, just keep your distance and I'm good, just stay right there. That's kind of how I look at snuggling. Basically, I'm not a fan of of snuggling. I just basically see it as just kind of yeah. Sorry, I didn't think this part two through very well. In fact, that's actually all I have for snuggle, really.
All right. Am I coming through clear? My internet's not the best. Okay. Yeah, I actually thought there were a couple of pretty good things there. Snuggling with, to get something in return, and snuggling with your cat and kind of having that, same mentality as your cat. I think there's actually a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, tactic. It's
Um,
a tactic. I see it more as a tactic, not enjoyment. You know, it's a tactic.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, I think there's actually some stuff there. I think even like more with a cat kind of situation, I feel like you might have a cat. And so you could kind of even go a little bit further into that. Also, you could kind of go into like how you prefer to not snuggle. Like I just prefer to roll over or something like that. So
Yeah.
some good stuff there. Elizabeth, any response?
Mhm. I like the idea that like you don't like to snuggle because usually like that's all people want, you know? They want the touch. Um, I mean, there was an opportunity for some COVID jokes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
thought it was good. And also in terms of like performance itself, there are moments where you're like laughing as you're speaking. If you're gonna, I mean, I would either like try not to laugh and just deliver the line so that you could hear it better. Or if you're gonna laugh, you know, you can pause, do your thing, and then go back into it, just so that you don't miss the punchlines.
Yeah. I didn't really have any punchlines for it. Like I can really think of anything. It's been I've been working like 60 hours this week, so I didn't really have any like punchlines for it. I was just kind of working with it, what I had in my head.
Okay.
Yeah, you got some storytelling kind of flow to your jokes as well, but you know, it's kind of like it's almost like a characteristic, and you know, it's recognizable as Chris for sure. And so I think if you know, like at the end, you're like, you know, that's what's funny, and you kind of give a little chuckle, and then just pause a little bit, you know, just 2 second pause, and then go to the next story, and then you've separated it, and now you have a whole separate bit. Whereas like, you know, kind of laughing into the next bit, you know, it's like recognizable as you, and it's great. You know, but yeah, I think just tightening it up, like separating each story, you know, will make your stuff punch up so much more. Because you have some really good premises there. So good stuff. Thanks, Elizabeth. Eric, you got any response?
I think most of my thoughts were already said. I think there's definitely a COVID joke or two in there about how everyone else is looking for human touch, and yet there you are, not interested.
Yeah, I'm
Even
just
though
like,
even though
oh, the
there's
deed's done. The deed's done. You know, it's like,
it's going to take more than a deadly pandemic that's killed 8 million people for me to want to cuddle with another human being, and just kind of and make sure to like amplify like that. Like aliens could come down and we could be all enslaved and all we have is each other, and stay the fuck away from me.
yeah,
Yeah. I think there's also like almost a little bit of an introvert extrovert um, scenario there. You know, extroverts probably want more human physical contact, whereas like being an introvert, you're just like, I'm fine over here. You know, I don't need the snuggles. I'm good. You know, so maybe kind of like that dichotomy there too. Um, People are familiar with that kind of meme. So yeah, I think that's good. That's good. Yeah, some COVID punch ups definitely makes it topical. Pretty funny. So, all right, Chris, that's really good. Good stuff. All right, Elizabeth
Mhm.
Lopez, what was your topic?
My topic was Bible.
Was what?
Bible.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's hear it.
All right, cool. So, all right. Bible is a Greek word that means the book. They couldn't come up with a better title. Like Greek for these stories should be taken literally. Moses wrote the Bible. I mean, I guess that's according to Google. So he's the one that hates the gays. It's all his fault. He must have been Republican, aka secretly self-hating gay. Let my penis go. The Bible is the only book inspired by God. Well, that and Jessica Simpson's autobiography. God possessed her to do anal with John Mayer. You know, the devil inspired a book too, The Art of the Deal. Why listen to God's word anyway? Because he made some shit. I made a person and a sandwich, but people shouldn't listen to my advice. I make my friends drink and drive. What can I say? I don't drive and I hate public transportation. That's all I got.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
I like the Moses stuff. I would say you could even put a little more, like, put a couple of 10 commandments in there and like kind of, you know, to back up that he's like a conservative guy,
Okay.
you know, something like
Yeah.
that. I really like the stuff at the end, like how you made a person in a sandwich, but people shouldn't listen to me.
Mhm.
I like that. I think more stuff will come to me. Eric, you got any response?
Yeah, you've either done this a few times or you've read some stuff on joke writing, but you seem to have a good formula down, at least for doing some of the twists. And it seemed like I picked up on the rule of threes too. I don't know if you were doing that intentionally or not, but that was good. You seem to have a style that you really have, like, I don't know if it's like, if you're gonna go at people, I would just keep going at people. Like, I think that could be like a really good style for you. Like, you have, I feel like you've got like kind of like a dichotomy between, you know, like you said, like, what was the line that it made me laugh? What was it? About being not pent up gay, but like secretly gay. Is that what it was?
Oh yeah,
Well,
I said
Self-hating.
secretly self-hating gay.
like you've got, yeah, I feel like you've got, yeah, like you've got like a laid back, almost like California style, like talk, but then you like get savage like that. And I think that's interesting. But I think if you could keep go, like, just keep that going, I think that's a really good, because it almost throws you a little bit off balance. You're totally chill and mellow, and then you just straight up stabbing someone. I like it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's good stuff. Good stuff.
It's so
Chris?
funny.
Oh, yep.
I just wanted to say it's so funny that you're saying the West Coast laid back thing. I'm actually East Coast and I'm just baked.
It's just 9:38 Central Time on a Saturday. You know.
You seem super chill, but it's just funny because it's like
I
the
feel
super
real
chill
chill.
person, just, you know, yeah.
All right. Very good. Good stuff. Chris, you got any more feedback?
Yeah, I definitely second that. Double down on the Moses one, especially about him being closeted gay and stuff, like, you know, just kind of maybe going more into a scenario or describing, like, you know, some kind of situation stuff, like, like maybe just think of some things about, like, you know, what Moses, like, you know, just like what would you be discussing, just kind of like, you know, implications, or maybe like, you know, like just kind of a more historical route, like, you know, about like whatever things he did on his mission and stuff, or maybe the planning of it, just some kind of like, you know, like, you know, basing that, I think that has a good potential.
I also like the stuff at the beginning where it's like the Bible is just the book in a different language. Like, that's the best they could come up with. They could have come up with something else, or even like, why don't they just call this title this? Like, you could have a couple extra things that are just so generic. You know, they called the Bible just the book. You know, why don't they call the building the building? You know, something like
Yeah,
that.
you could add a couple good tags there for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys, that was a really good first round. Unless anyone have anything to add about the first round. All right. I think we have some actually really good base for some good future premises. I thought there was a lot of good stuff. So very good. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and switch up the format of the screens for this next round. So this is kind of the stuff that we are currently working on. And so I think we'll just do like bigger screens so we can kind of get more of a feel for what's going on. So I will go first. I'm just seeing if there's any more comments. It looks like we're good to go on comments. So, all right. All right, guys. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. Well, the corners of my eyes are the recycling bins for my mascara. So I've been going green this entire time.
Woohoo!
Good. I'm very proud of myself. I recently wrote a poem. And I'm proud of myself because the last time I wrote a poem was in high school. And, it was very different back then. I wore so much eyeliner that I got the nickname Raccoon. It did not have anything to do with the fact that I had rabies. So, yeah, my poetry back then, was just a little different, a little bit more darker, edgy. Everything was broken and shattered. Guys, I'm taking care of someone and they're knocking on the door. So can I just put you on pause?
Sure.
I'm sorry, guys.
Go for it. That was interesting.
Are we actually on pause?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because it looks like it says live.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really pause a live stream.
No. It's difficult doing. I don't know. Are you two doing a lot of online stuff? Like this is the first thing I've done in months. Like I did the workshop before with Scott, and this is a way better setup. But doing online things live, I'm always a little nervous about, just because it's like you think what's gonna come out of your mouth, and then sometimes it doesn't exactly come out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of online open mics. They're fun. It's just yeah, just me. I haven't had the time to write as much as I need to.
Yeah. Elizabeth, how much do you write per week?
Per week? I don't know. I try to write every day.
I've only run like 5 minutes this week, and I'm so disappointed. Like barely 5 minutes. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I need to step that up.
Yeah, I know those weeks. I try to do it if I just get like a couple minutes alone on the iPhone, just to like try to like write like one joke and try to do a couple tags, just to like say I feel like I did something that day. I hate going multiple days without doing like anything, because it's like there's always like 3 minutes at one point where you're just like, well, I'm not doing anything, but then you're like on Twitter, or like
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, is she coming back? Oh, there we go.
All right, guys, sorry about that. I might get interrupted again, so I'm going to go ahead and just go on to the next person, and then I'll go last. I hope that sounds like that's okay for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. All right, let me go ahead and switch over to Eric.
Hey.
Eric, thank you.
Okay. For everyone that just joined in or is wondering who I am, my name is Eric Vernston. I'm the host of the Laugh and Learn with Vern podcast, where I interview people that have done multiple careers or have like switched career midstream or have like a really cool hobby or something to do. I think anyone can learn anything. I think anyone can laugh. And the idea is try to bring out some of the fun stories that people did on their journey to prove that literally anyone can do pretty much anything if they just figure out a couple things and then head in that right direction. I have an improv and stand-up background beyond tonight. I'd like to keep talking about the Army because the Army is just so easy to joke about, whether it be about the Army itself or for me being involved. One of my first days, my literal first day of training was in a classroom. I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone in the right mind have an Army person training in a classroom? Well, that's because I'm a lawyer. As I said earlier, it wasn't just my mom that was freaked out about me having a weapon. We go in this classroom, and normally you see Army dressed in the camouflage. You think, being able to hide out in the jungle, things like that. Well, sometimes there's hiccups, such as when you go to the clothing store at 4:30 in the morning and they don't have that one patch you need. So we were dressed in our PTs. You might be sitting there wondering, what's a PT, Eric? Well, go back to what you wore in high school for gym class. That's your PT. So imagine 60 lawyers from all over the country, some from Berkeley, Yale, Southern Illinois, all so excited, all nervous, all dressed up like we're about to have gym class. And in walks in the general, the T-Jag himself. Now, every time someone comes in a room that's higher ranking than you, you have to stand up to acknowledge them. So everyone just stands up real quickly and they say, sit down, sit down, sit down. Goes through, he gives a wonderful speech and then says, does anyone have any questions? As you can imagine, no one said anything except me. I stood up, I said whatever it was. It was kind of one of those moments. Remember in Old School with Will Ferrell where he goes on that little speech and then passes out and he's like, what happened? I blacked out. I totally blacked out. But whatever it was, I didn't get kicked out of the Army. Afterwards, he's walking out. And again, we all stand up quickly to show our respect. Now, since this is the Army, not everything goes as always according to plan, and you have to adapt. Well, part of the chair got caught on my shorts. So the chair seat kind of lifted up a little bit, which isn't a big deal until, because you're nervous, because you're trying to impress everyone around you, because you're in the Army, you sit down super quickly. And you sit down and the metal and the plastic squish your index finger. Blood gushing everywhere. I'm surrounded by people I don't even know. A general's walking out of the room and there's just blood pouring everywhere. I'm sucking on my finger like this. The woman next to me. Are you okay? When you make that noise, it looks like, is that blood on? Are you? I don't think you're okay. Finger swollen up. You know what? I don't think I'm okay either. So I go to walk out. First day. The Army has a specific way of communicating where you say someone's rank first, and the way you do it is by looking at their chest, which is always still a little awkward with the females, because the last thing I want to do, especially in the Me Too era, is be caught staring at a woman's chest. But for some reason in the Army, it's actually one of the only things you can do. I had a sergeant, but again, I don't know this is a sergeant. So I have someone I need to talk to, and I'm walking up with my finger in my mouth, and I'm trying to introduce myself and then say, fill in the blank, and I see his name. His name is right there. But in the middle of his rank, I don't know what his rank is. So I'm literally just looking at him and he's looking at me, he's like, Can I help you? And I finally just took my finger out of my mouth and went, blood! And he goes, Yeah, you do need some help, don't you? Madam Host.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, so the meat of the story was at the very end. I was definitely laughing out loud at your like the facial expression, you know, the blood thing, you know, very visual. And so I think that needs to be at the top of the story, you know, like I'm in the army, I'm in this classroom, that's it. You know, there's you know, a lot of, you know, I'm in, you know, these are the reasons, and you know, all that stuff can be kind of for a different time or a different bit, like go right into the bit of like the finger thing. So because I think that whole part was funny, but it took a minute to get to the funny part. So yeah, but good stuff. Chris, are you still with us or what? Are you falling asleep, guy?
Oh my gosh. Is he really asleep?
Oh, that's fun.
No,
Elizabeth,
I'm guessing he's frozen.
is he frozen?
I think he's frozen. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
He said he had a long week.
he did. He might be frozen. Well, we'll
Okay.
just go on to Elizabeth and see if Chris comes back to us. So, yeah, it looks like he's gone. We'll see if he comes back. All right, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Any response?
Response.
Yeah.
I agree with your commentary. Basically, I felt like you can trim the fat a lot more of that joke. Yeah, like the best part of it was at the end. Um, yeah, and like anything about the general could be a separate bit. Maybe you go into more details about like what he looked like, that could be funny, or what he sounded like, or the fear that he struck into everyone's hearts, like, and just anything that could be funny about that. I mean, I feel like maybe you can just make your own, like a separate bit, and then you have a little more material to work with.
I'm really intrigued by the fact that you were a lawyer and then decided to do this because you're full time in the army now, right? Is that right, or just now?
No,
so
so I'm actually a lawyer for the Army, but it's 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. So
Okay.
so that's why we were in the classroom. We weren't actually, but you have to learn. It's a 6-week class. It's called Direct Commission Course. So you have to learn the basic skills for that time period, and then you do 11 weeks afterwards of only law. Oh, Chris is
Okay.
back.
Hey.
He was
Sorry,
awake.
I apologize. My internet cut out. I do apologize for that, guys.
No problem. I thought you were magic and like sleeping with your eyes open. So, but yeah, you're back. Good stuff. So, yeah, what did you think of Eric's stuff?
Oh,
Any
what?
feedback? 'Cause I think
definitely
you were
agree.
there for most of it.
Yeah, you're honestly like she was right. The meat of the story definitely came at the very end. It was kind of got punchier and got more jokey-ish. I thought it felt like a lot very like heavy intro and kind of like premise that for like most of it. But then like towards the end is where it really started to get like But I felt like it kind of needs something more at the beginning to kind of just like get people into it so that way they tune in for the full thing and don't tune out. Like something kind of more like punchy at the beginning, like it's kind of like a more engaging opener.
All right. Yeah, some really good stuff though. Really interesting. So got a couple of Facebook comments. Two of them are was when I left, and this is the last time that anyone heard of Alicia. All right, I'm glad we got a couple of watchers. Somebody was like, "Quick, everyone, switch places." And then somebody, when your internet kind of crapped out and you left Chris, somebody was like so jealous of Chris right now. And somebody else was like, bring Chris back.
Why are
So
why are they so jealous? Wait, seriously? Why are they so jealous?
I don't know. But that's the
Mm.
comment, and somebody else is like, bring Chris back, and I think that's a hashtag waiting to happen. So Chris, you pumped up? You ready to do your stuff?
All right, yeah, let's see how this goes. All right.
All right. Sounds good. I'm gonna 2 seconds.
This is like a commercial break without the commercials. Sorry.
Honestly, it's better than actual commercials.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. It generally is.
All right, thanks guys. All right, Chris, I'm gonna
Yep.
switch you over here to the big screen.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Let's hear it.
All right, guys. Well, my name's Chris Waldeck, and prepare yourselves because my jokes are a lot like my diet, hammy as fuck. So let's see how this goes. All right, my name's Chris. I'm 29 years old, but I choose to identify as a dad at a barbecue. It was an easy transition for me. I just simply went from good old propane all the way to charcoal. I've been trying to get it into better shape though. Like I recently downloaded this app that where basically you spend an entire month just cranking it out and pumping it for like an entire month, and then the rest of the year you just spend pigging out and chilling out. It's called Fit for a Bit. Yeah, people always ask me if I'm like on the spectrum or something, and to be honest, I'm like, no, I'm just from Florida. That's all. You guys may know that as the place where rich New Yorkers go when it's time to die. It's also known as the home of Casey Anthony, Vanilla Ice, and our greatest export is still Hooters. Seriously, we're the state that's so crazy, not even Ted Bundy could escape. That's right, 10 Buddies' final stand was at good old Florida State University. At the time, people were wondering, how in the world did Ted Bundy get in FSU? I'm like, it's simple. He applied. That's how everyone gets in FSU. That's all you have to do. You just apply. And nowadays on FSU, whenever they have there's a massacre on campus, it's just called a home game. That's all. Yeah, I can rag on them just a little bit because I got both my degrees from FSU. My first job was doing duck boat tours down in Florida. I do appreciate the chuckles. I'm so glad that quacks you up. That's right. I signed a lease when I got out of college. It was my parents' couch. First Airbnb I was ever afraid to masturbate in. And you know what? They had the nerve to ask me every single Thanksgiving. They're like, hey, Chris, when are you going to have kids? And I was like, damn, Mama, I just want a mattress. Truth be told, I don't have any issue with having kids. I just have more of a college mindset. I don't mind responsibility. I just like sleep a lot more. But also, I'm a bit insecure that the kid's going to grow up to be smarter than me. For example, doctors found out that about 75% of kids are now in physical pain from holding pencils because they're so used to doing their work on iPads at school. That's a fact. Folks, kids are getting so smart that pencils really are number 2. But yeah, eventually I moved out of Florida and I just started traveling the world. I traveled so much though that I'm now a little bit afraid of the ocean because that's where Spirit Airlines usually lands. That's right, good old Motel 6 with wings, the original Frontier Airlines. And ever since the pandemic's been happening, like, and just since I've been traveling, my folks at home, like my parents, are always telling me that they miss me and they want to see more of me. So I sent them some nudes. And now my uncle wants to see more of me. And I live in Las Vegas right now, and it's a little bit different than living when I was in Florida and eventually moved to Tallahassee for school. Because when you're in Tallahassee, it's like a big city with a small town feel. So, like, you know, at the strip clubs in Vegas, when you go there, you're seeing like porn stars and stuff on stage. And when you usually are going to a strip club in a small town, it's just because you're trying to support your mom. That's all. I'm just kidding. I'd never go to a strip club to support my mom. She's not hot enough. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I learned a lot about how to act in life from my mom when she was like back when I was younger and stuff. It's amazing how things change when you get older, you know. When you're growing up, you know, your parents, all the stuff that they do, it's referred to as good intentions. And when you're adult, the therapists just call it childhood trauma. I do know that when I was a kid, I'm always ashamed to admit that, I had a horrific pornography addiction. That's right, it got real bad, folks. It got so bad that I was afraid to go. That it was weird going over to my friend's house because whenever I saw his hot stepsister, I just assumed he had dibs. You guys ever watch? Anyone here ever watch puppet pornography? I didn't see a yes or no. Anyone here watch puppet pornography? Seeing a few no's. I understand. For most millennials, most relationships are no strings attached. It has a weird weird ending to all those pornography videos too. Seriously, they don't have a money shot. They just jack in the box. I will say this though. I know I probably have limited time left. I never understood why people are so afraid of sex robots. You know, I always hear comedians, they always bring up the sex robots and they're always saying, oh, they're afraid and stuff. I'm like, why are you afraid of sex robots? It's the perfect one-night stand. Seriously, it is so mechanical. Once it nuts, it bolts. And that's my time. Thank you, guys.
Woo!
All right. Woo! Very good. All right. Good stuff. Very good stuff. All right. Does anybody have any response?
Great job. I really liked the jokes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. The more depraved, the better.
All right,
You
I'm
come
just
out again.
sure.
You kind of have like you have this almost like folksy kind of draw to you, and so when you're talking about like Jack in the Box, like that's a great line.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
It was enjoyed it.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts. Yeah, that's hilarious. Lots of good stuff. I mean, you know, Florida, you know, all that stuff is, you know, safe to make fun of most of almost everything you did. I don't normally like flying jokes or airplane jokes, but those were the exception to my rule. So
Mhm.
I like those. Those are good. So yeah, I think it was just pretty solid. Tag wise, I don't have a lot because I was just kind of laughing at everything. So does anybody else have any maybe tags or any improvements? Eric, you kind of said something. Anything else?
Can't think of any specific lines. I mean, I think you could go out with the sex robots. Like you could probably get maybe into. What did you have a line about the word mechanical? What'd you say about that? I feel like that was in there.
Oh yeah. I was basically saying like I don't know why people are afraid of sex robots. You know, it's the perfect one night stand because it's so mechanical. Once it nuts, it bolts.
I think you could probably the mechanical angle. You could probably make some sort of like sex joke, like, you know, if I want to be mechanical, like I'll go date a fill in the blank, or like there's probably, or like maybe a position, or like there's something mechanical there, or maybe there's like a whole different twist that I'm not thinking of. But I think you could, that word mechanical, especially involving sex, like it's got some different like avenues that you could totally go down that might like you know, some like Or you can maybe toss anime in there too, or like there's like there's definitely a lot to work with.
Oh yeah, I did have a pretty good I had an anime joke. I usually don't use it as much. I was saying like, I was like because this is actually a fact, before the pandemic, there's more paper used for manga and anime than there is used for toilet paper in Japan. And ever since the pandemic happened, now all manga is toilet paper.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Very good, you guys. Elizabeth,
Yes.
are you ready?
To follow that. Yeah.
All right.
All right. I just got a little bit. My mom has been questioning my parenting. Let me describe my mom. If she were a fast food item, she'd be a McRib, unavailable most of the year. She's like the Joe Jackson of moms, except she couldn't even do that right because I'm talentless, broke, and I don't own a zoo. She treats me like LaToya. Let's see. Oh, sorry. My mom ignored me my whole life until I had a kid. I guess just so she could tell me how to do it. Her main piece of advice is, you're doing it wrong. That's all I have. It's all really rough. So any suggestions, tags, anything you have, just throw my way.
I would watch out for the Jackson family. I think it's almost too dated at this point, depending on your crowd. Like I like, even for me, like as someone who followed Michael and loved the music, I don't remember that much about LaToya. I really don't. I feel like she
Really?
might have had like I don't know. I actually can't even picture her. I know Janet, Joe. I would just maybe if there's a way to touch up, like maybe just make that the Kardashians, and like just say, like, instead of LaToya, say Rob.
Okay. Huh.
Or even
That's a
next
good tip.
generation, Paris Jackson, Blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done
Blanket.
I've done like a Jackson joke sort of recently, and it did kind of go over people's heads because it's dated.
Mm.
So
I feel
The
like
premise
with
you
like
had was
all
good.
of the sex allegations too, like it always just seems like so current.
we're just under a ton of other crappy things. I feel like it has kind of gone to the wayside, but yeah. What were you gonna say, Eric?
The documentaries do seems like they reared their ugly head every once in a while there's like on both sides of the story, but I don't know how much they talk about his family. I guess, to be honest, I haven't I kind of like already made my decision on what I think about him. I just kind of go, I don't know about that stuff, but I still like listening to Thriller, and I'm just gonna roll with that. And he's dead, so I don't know what else to do. I really like the song. It's bad, I know.
Well, it's almost impossible not to sing along with. It's hard. You're like, I don't want to sing along, and then it's just so catchy.
Some beat it comes on, and you're like,
I mean, that's a whole premise right there, So, but yeah, I like the stuff, with your mom and kind of interacting with that. I think lots of good stuff there. I mean, you've got the chops to, this is just a premise. I know you can round it out. So, but I mean, Kardashian, compare it to the Kardashian, or compare it
That's
to.
a great idea.
Yeah.
you know what might be good too, and even maybe more timely, making fun of the royal family.
The
With
royal
like Harry
family?
and what's her face leaving, and then I think they have a kid together. They have a child, right? Maybe you could say something like that. Like, I don't know. They're in the news all the time. I don't know
No,
for
they
what
definitely,
they
there
are.
always
I'm
are.
like more engaged
Just for
in
being
opener.
royal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Latoya is a little vague. That's a little vague. Like that one. Like I know the name Latoya, but I don't really know much about her at all. Like Latoya Jackson. So.
That's also kind of my point too. Like she only comes up in the news because she's doing something crazy, like for attention or something. Or
Yeah. I find that the Braxtons are
Uh-huh.
kind of taking the forefront in my mind too, like the Braxton house or whatever. Like, there's Tony and then there's Tamar Braxton. Like that's another family that kind of, she's in the news for being crazy and stuff like that. So,
if you had a crowd and maybe if they're kind of silent, you could be like, oh, like Tamar Jackson. If they say nothing, and then you could be like Rob Kardashian. Like you could almost tag all these like loser kids in these big families just one after the next until until someone's like, oh yeah, and you'd be like, don't make me get to Ashley Simpson here.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. Anything else? All right. I'm going to just do one more little bit. I hope that's okay.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm a terrible cook. Yeah, so terrible. I hate it so much. One time I microwaved a tortilla for 8 minutes. And that microwave was never the same. But it's okay though, because the microwave was my roommate's. So I'm fine. Yeah, but I'm a proud third generation terrible cook. The entire time growing up, I just thought that grilled cheese were burnt sandwiches. And that hot dogs had a crust.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys know this, but meat doesn't have a crust. But in my household, it's different. Yeah. So that's kind of what I got going on right now. So yeah. So if there's any feedback on my broken up jokes, I'll take it for sure. But
I kind of feel like I want you to go through the whole fridge.
yeah. More terrible food.
Yeah.
I think it needs more of a kind of more of a twist to it. Besides it just being my roommate's microwave and stuff, like kind of like I don't know if it's as like as punchy as it could be. I think it needs to go kind of in a more extreme direction for like
Okay.
being a terrible coke and stuff.
Yeah. Well, or maybe what happened to the tortilla or what happened to the microwave.
The 8 minutes. That's which is a long time to cook a tortilla, but I think it needs to go in like a different direction. Just kind of like in a more extreme kind of punchy to it.
Maybe
It's
add in,
dark.
I think you need to add in like a twist, like maybe something like, you talk about how messed up the burrito was and how everyone was mad at you, and you're like, but to be honest with you, I don't really like getting yelled at when I'm eating a crispy burrito. Talk about maybe how you ate it, or maybe like, did you do something with it, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was crispy, but I still ate it or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that's a segue to like the fridge. You're like, expired. Maybe it's like, milk isn't actually expired. Milk identifies as expired, and I choose to not accept that identity, and I will drink it for up to 2 weeks after that happens. Or maybe there's a way to do something like that.
I feel like a good segue too would be like, you talk about how you have an iron stomach. Well, because of the things you ate growing up.
That's good. All right, I like those. I like those tags. Sound good, guys. I think we did it. Unless there's anything else we want to say. Chris, do you have anything coming up that you want to plug?
Anything coming up? No, not right now.
Okay, you can just see Chris on online on some open mics, maybe back on the workshop on a future date. I'm gonna start the hashtag Bring Chris back because you were hilarious. So good
Thanks.
stuff.
I do appreciate that.
Elizabeth, you got
Hey.
anything you want to plug? Want us to
Just my Instagram. Any shows that I have coming up will be on there. So my Instagram is at Elo Comedy. It's ELO Comedy.
Okay, yeah, definitely check her out. I have a podcast called AZPL, which is the A to Z playlist. You can find that on Spotify. I'm Alicia Rain at Alicia Rain on Instagram. And then I host every Saturday. Most of the time there's not interruptions, but you just kind of roll with it. So, and then Eric, he's got his podcast. It looks like in the comments he's put his link on there.
Alicia, what's your podcast about?
It's the we just make up specific playlists for a specific situation. So our first episode is about a summertime playlist. Like, what are the ultimate songs that you would have on a summertime playlist? We kind of go over the history of some of the songs and stuff. So it's really just kind of fun, more adorable. We just go off on like comedy tangents and stuff like that because we're both comedians. It's hosted by my another comedian, Zach Dresch. So,
Actually, I do have something I could plug too.
Yeah.
All right, you can find me on Facebook on Cold Brew Comedy. That's my little comedy page, Cold Brew Comedy.
Cold Brew Comedy. All right, guys, definitely post that in our messages, and then we will have those links and stuff on when we post the actual post on the workshop Facebook page. So, yep, look for that. We are still live. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye to everybody out there. Thanks so much for watching at the workshop. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you to all the comedians tonight, Chris, Elizabeth, Eric. Check them out, check me out, and have a great night.
Nice to meet you all.
Pleasure to meet you all. Thank you.